Did you do it again? Did you say that's a winner?
I did. I mean, it's ingrained in my brain. What do you want from me?
Quite sure. We haven't introduced you yet.
Okay.
So,
God, that's nice.
I'm just leaves blowing in the background here. Just make
what is it with you and plants?
Noise.
Just let it go. So I can't help but think, Julie, back that if your dad was still here, I mean, he's here,
but he's not here.
But he's like physically of this.
Yes, we understand.
I wonder if he would have filed some kind of cease and desist.
My mom will.
Julie, stop saying that. That's my phrase.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? And I think he'd probably be okay with it.
You're taking food out of Dad's mouth. Cut it out.
Okay, it's starting to get weird.
I gave you life.
Okay, really awkward? Let's talk about Arbor Day.
Yeah.
It's Pretzel Day and it's Arbor Day.
How can it be Pretzel Day and Arbor Day?
I guess
because pretzels grow on trees, pal.
I guess they do.
You sit under a tree and eat a pretzel on Arbor Day.
Oh, my goodness. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, so if you don't recognize this voice, you are at a great loss because you're missing some of the best radio the Big 550 has to offer. It's the Inside Out Show. Here's Bob Shea. Or John Shea.
No. It's David Sherwood from Sherwood's Forest
it's the other one. It's the handsome
and,
one.
Yeah, I'm the tree guy.
It's the handsome one of the bunch.
So you got questions on Arbor Day, huh?
I didn't know what it was.
He wants to know what it is, yeah.
I didn't know what it was.
Well, they've been celebrating Arbor Day since 1872.
Who started? I mean,
it was starting in Nebraska. Nebraska was the first state to actually start celebrating. And actually, there's a Missouri Arbor Day that is, I think, was last week sometime. But
did we have it tracked to a person, though? I mean, obviously, it was some rich guy that owned a nursery.
I think it was
like
Julius Sterling Morton or something
like
that.
Oh, you're totally making that up.
Something like that.
Who pulls that out of nowhere?
But you know what? They've been celebrating. Arbor Day literally means tree day and planting trees. And they've been celebrating planting trees for the whole length of civilization forever. They've been doing it. Actually, in China right now, they're taking their military and taking a group of people off some military, hot zones, and they're planting 5 million trees in an area the size of Ireland in China to try to reforest the area that they've polluted so badly. So
it's bad over there.
It is. I've been to Beijing before. I was there right before the Olympics, and they had planted all the highways were all planted, like on 10-foot centers with trees. And things.
You could see the air. Yeah. I mean, there's no EPA or anything like that. No regulations at all.
And it's been a tradition for people to celebrate tree planting and things. And like I say, the best time to plant a tree would have been 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Don't just stand there and plant something.
But where on earth would we buy a tree, he said?
Well, Sherwood's Forest, we've been around for 41 years, and it's always kind of been our thing, trees and big trees and smaller trees.
What's the best kind? Is there, I love magnolia trees. I'm a big fan.
Right.
I talked to you off the air about a dogwood tree that I wanted to get. Right. What's the best kind of tree, the easiest kind of tree that's pretty much a safe bet to plant this time of year that will probably make it?
Yeah, well, you talked about magnolias. There's a couple kinds of magnolias. The southern magnolias come into their glory. They're an evergreen, shiny leaf. Those you can plant pretty much all summer long, no problem. The saucer magnolias have already finished blooming that beautiful purple bloom. But really our go-to shade tree is an Acer rubrum variety usually.
A what?
An Acer rubrum, like an October Glory red maple. Is a nice tree, or a brandywine maple, a ginkgo tree.
There you go, Carney. It's got alcohol and it's a tree. It's all...
Ginkgo trees are really...
sap is fantastic.
They're wonderful. Any kind of maple trees generally tend to be good, not the old-fashioned silver maples and things.
Why are Japanese maples stupid expensive?
Because they take a long time to grow. And,
they do?
Yeah, they're very slow growing, and there's a little bit of work taken.
That's not a selling point.
Well, but people like miniature trees, and everybody wants something that's not going to get real big, but they want it big now, but they want a perfect-looking Japanese maple that might be 3 to 4 foot tall, weeping. You realize that thing took 15 years to grow that big, and it's only going to grow a few more inches a year in your yard, but if something that takes 15 years to grow, it's a lot of shelves.
Wait, how expensive is the Japanese maple?
We sell Japanese maples for $400 to $600 a piece for something 4 to 5 feet tall. That's not including planting, So,
but your company will come out and plant if you don't want to do it yourself.
We'll plant, and we have a 2-year warranty when we plant, and we use all the greatest products when we plant, like St. Louis compost and all that kind of stuff in our holes, and make things grow well. So, But yeah, there's a big thing going on, and you're hearing everything about getting rid of the Bradford pears in the environment, some of the invasive trees.
No, I haven't heard
what?
anything.
I loved Bradford
We
pears.
don't
Are they
run
bad?
in your circles.
Yeah, well, the Bradford pears are a little invasive, and they're actually the county parks and Relief St. Louis, whatever it's called. It's in Creve Coeur. If you take a picture of a Bradford pear you cut down, they'll give you a little free native tree to plant in your yard.
Wait a second. Okay, so when my twins were born, they're going to be 19 this summer.
Yeah.
We lived in Brentwood on White Avenue, across from Tillis Park,
right.
and the city planted 2 little Bradford pears right outside of our house.
Right.
And when you do a drive-by of your old house, sometimes when you're in the area.
Yeah.
Don't say drive-by.
I go by there, and I'm always sad because somebody cut down the Bradford pears. Is that why?
Well, a lot of times they plant them as street trees, and they were way too big. And if you're on Wydown, they planted a lot of them in Clayton back in those days, and they were all up in the wire, so they did a little haircut on them, which looked ridiculous. But could have been they fell down because they're a soft tree. But back to your question, kindred spirit oak is a nice tree as well. We like hornbeams a lot. You mentioned planting a dogwood, for a memorial tree or something like that. Dogs are very sensitive. They like to be understory trees.
Isn't that our state tree?
It is our state tree. Everybody
Ding,
goes,
ding, 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 ding.
Wow, I'm
shouldn't
impressed.
it grow here? It grows in the woods. It grows as an understory tree when it grows with the forest, and it all kind of grows together. They like some shade. They need to be protected a bit. But the best time to plant a dogwood is right now or a couple of weeks ago when they were dormant. They're
So
just
hurry
now
up.
flowering. Yeah, you need to get those in the ground very soon. So.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah, really. Well, tomorrow
She's
we're
got
going
a
to
2-mile driveway. She could make your
Yeah.
annual budget right
Yeah,
now.
no problem. Yeah.
I wanted to build a natural boundary
Right.
between my house and a neighbor's house. And I want to do it again because
Sure.
I live in a new subdivision where the tallest tree is 8 feet.
Right.
I mean, which is nice. We don't have to clean gutters or
Right.
rake leaves because they don't exist.
Right.
I had considered at one point bamboo, and everyone said, you can't stop it.
Yeah, there are some very
It's
invasive
insane.
varieties like Golden Groove as bamboo. It will be invasive, and it'll grow into your neighbor's yard, into your neighbor's yard.
I love that.
They don't
care
will
about
love
them.
You.
If you
They
hate,
will
if you
love
hate your neighbor, it's okay.
Well, you plant it in a pot, they say, because it maintains.
Yeah, it'll blow the pot up. But there is a clumping bamboo. There are certain kinds of
Band
clumping
name.
bamboo that is a little bit better. It clumps and means it doesn't run as much, and it won't go into the neighbor's
But
yard.
will it still give me
It'll give you
6-7 feet of vertical?
It'll give you some vertical, but my suggestion is on any kind of, if you've got a little bit of depth to your yard, the best kind of a privacy screen is to stagger some normal, shade trees in there, like October glories, hornbeams, or something that's going to give you some, nice vertical structure, maybe, 30, 40 feet tall. Work in some evergreens, possibly, green giant arborvitaes or something that's going to stay green all year long. And then across the foreground, you could do a nice screening viburnum that there's an Allegheny leatherleaf viburnum, kind of like my skin. And it'll screen all year long. And that way you're not spending a ton of money and you've got something that's not going to compete with each other.
Well, I
There you
have
go.
$47 set aside for landscaping.
Well, you can call us for that.
So let me know when
We'll return your phone call for that.
Right. Yeah.
I will go by other people's homes that have been there for a while because
Right.
part of Newtown is 11 years old, but our house is only 2 years
I
old.
know exactly where you live.
But these established shrubs where, that they can
Right.
cut into topiaries and they're nice and full
Right.
bushes, I'm so envious. Can you buy something that's got that kind of
That is kind of our
growth
niche.
now?
We have big plants, and we really do cater to that market where people want an instant kind of a satisfaction and a big,
Right, yeah,
big
if you're
plant
doing
done.
that.
And we do carry some good-sized trees, shrubs, boxwoods, and things like that.
I love boxwoods.
Yeah, and we've been working with some of our customers for over 40 years, and a lot of times you've got to go back in and remove some beautiful things that did well for 20 years. One reason or another, they don't, and it's a never-ending process, thank goodness, in the landscaping business. That you got to keep addressing it, and sometimes you change your desires of what you want to put in, and you want a little bit different color, or you might want to add a butterfly garden or anything trendy that's going on.
What's like a real butterfly?
Butterfly gardens are the thing now. Everybody's talking about and keeping it pest free, pesticide free. So you've got to put a butterfly garden in an area where you're not spraying your trees or shrubs for insects or spraying things in your lawn. And it's a pollinator garden where you would plant things that attract butterflies and bees. And that's kind of a big thing at the Arbor Day people are trying to get promoting too is getting pollinators, because as they say, if the bees and the butterflies don't eat, we don't eat, and we like to eat. So they have to have.
But haven't bees made like a resurgence? Like that was bad for a while, and now
what's the buzz on that?
They've made a little beesy bit, but
okay.
not so much. There's still a lot of issues with it, and all the growers have cut back on using a lot of things that were really tough on the bees, and everybody has to use insecticides to some degree for something, but people are learning to be more careful with it and not broadcast and use it unnecessarily, and have a least bit of footprint as you can on the bee population.
My wife puts that in my breakfast.
Right. And a lot of the trees are good pollinators for bees, too. Even linden trees and things are, hosts for certain kinds of butterflies.
We are going to be breaking the airwaves together again tomorrow.
Right. At Hallmark Stone from 11 to 1, we'll be having our show, and you'll be there with Annie's Hope and Carney's Foundation, all the great work you do. And
I figure I probably ought to be at my own foundation's event.
Yeah.
Wouldn't look good if I wasn't there.
Yeah, and you'll be with the second hour, I think, with me from 12 to 1.
I would be honored.
Oh, I would. The honor is mine.
Same tired jokes you're hearing right now, you're going to hear again
I like it. I've been hearing the same tired jokes from John Shea for 3 years. So
now you get to hear John Carney's tired jokes.
There you go. At least I'll have the name right. If I get nervous, I'll say John. I'll be okay.
Do you just ever want to stop Shea and say, it's calculator?
Yeah, calculator.
Calculator.
Yeah.
What does he say?
Tree
calculator.
It's
calculator.
Yeah.
Calculator.
It's calculator.
I get some tongue twisters, too, once in a while. It's kind of tough sometimes.
It's kind of adorable.
Get out your calculator.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful. I look forward to hanging with you. And
sure
I want to see if you get me a bouquet of poison sumac I can send to my ex.
There you go. I'll see if I can find some in the nursery.
Throw that together.
Put it in a Ziploc.
Pleasure, Dave. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Happy Arbor Day to you, young man.
Happy Arbor Day.
Sherwood's Forest, if we wanted to come out to the Nursery and Garden Center, where would we go?
2651 Barrett Station Road, off of Manchester, half a mile south of Manchester Road. And you can see us on Sherwoods-forest.com, Facebook, Instagram, all over the place.
Love it.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. See
you.
All right.